Now, man, I've got to pull myself together for this. I'm the epitome of health today. I'm a little bit under the weather, but that's okay. People have heard my voice before. I got 2 compliments, actually, guys, that my voice is sexier when I'm sick. So
one was from me.
One was from Marnie, which is the compliment that I need.
Of course.
So
what I'm here for.
I'm currently trying to find a way to keep myself mildly sick for the rest of my life. But until I figure that out, we're just going to do a normal podcast instead.
We are so sad today. Josh and I had a double whammy on Saturday. Not only did we watch North go down by another 10 goals, then we watched Melbourne Victory lose the grand final in sensationally disappointing fashion. 4 or 5 hours later. So Saturday was definitely a day to forget for the two of us.
But you know what's good, Marnie? When you're a North Melbourne fan, it's all kind of a numb feeling. And it just feels like another day on this planet.
Speak for yourself. I just watched Darcy Tucker play the game of his career on Saturday, and that is the content I'm here for today.
Well, I would like to leave, but I can't because I guess I'm part of this as well, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's your podcast.
And I'll do everything I can to make that segment of the podcast as short as possible. Now,
don't deprive me and the listeners of what they want.
The listeners don't want Darcy Tucker chat.
Are you sure?
Yes. I think I know the listeners. If I knew last year that this podcast would turn into Core, Sherry and Tucker chat, I would have probably hung up the boots. Now, this is chaotic, Marnie. Please, my brain, I need...
But it's fun. It's all about the friends you make along the way.
Well, I'm going to talk about something way more exciting because this is getting off track. Now... We have probably the best thing we'll ever do on this podcast. A very loyal listener has written a song, okay? And we love songs on this podcast.
We do love songs on the podcast.
We've got a Charlie Comben song.
We also love Charlie Comben.
We love Charlie Comben.
A Charlie Comben song is like a match made in heaven for us.
Now, one of the listeners has written a song. He didn't write the song. AI wrote the song, but he's put the algorithm in to write the song through AI, a song about Charlie Comben being North Melbourne's defender.
It's incredible. It is incredible what technology can do these days.
Yeah, it's out of control because it's probably, is it a bit cringy? Absolutely. But is it one of the best things I've heard? Yes, absolutely
it is. Can confirm it's unreal.
Now, was I humming and singing the chorus in my head for 3 days afterwards? I can confirm I was.
So if anyone wants to listen to that, you're going to have to wait until the end of the pod for us to play it. It is worth the wait. I have heard it. It's excellent. And I'm very excited to hear what you guys think about it as well.
So we are going to play that at the end of the podcast as well, okay? Just to make sure people hang around and listen to all of it because we're, big brain, a lot of North chat. People love that. But also, it's the best 2 minutes of your life. At least it'll be the best 2 minutes of the weekend. For all North Melbourne fans. Maybe the season. Yeah, except for that 1 quarter against Fremantle. So let's get into the game then.
Okay.
You're a little bit more of an expert on this game. I watched the first half and then work and life got in the way for me. And unfortunately, I didn't get to watch it. I went back and then I was like, it seems a bit depressing. So I can only really speak on the first half in this one. I want to be honest with the listeners because I don't want to pretend I know what I'm talking about. But you were there for the whole time, not in Tassie, but watching.
No, thankfully I didn't make the journey down to Tassie. I did have FOMO, but that FOMO quickly disappeared about 10 minutes into the third quarter. Unfortunately, it was a tale of two halves, as it has been for the last sort of few weeks now. Our first half was excellent. Our pressure was up. We controlled the ball a lot more. You've sort of spoken about this in the last few weeks, Josh, how we've kind of moved away from that chaotic North ball, which I do think has a time and place. And Dermot Brereton did say on the commentary yesterday, he also thinks that the chaos ball does work for North sometimes, just to get it in our forward 50 quickly. But we have been playing a lot more of a kick mark style, being a little bit more methodical with our build up and, really, thinking it through properly. And it did work really well in the first half. But unfortunately, there's some issues, same old issues that are still there. Our opportunities, we actually did make, I think we were going at about 50% or just under 50% efficiency inside the forward 50 in the first half, I believe. So we were sort of making the most of the opportunities when they went down there, but we just weren't hitting the scoreboard enough in terms of goals. There was obviously a few behinds, and then we just weren't entering the forward 50 enough in general. Look, it's a lot more. It's the same problems that we've had. You guys know how the story goes. It was pretty tight going into half time. I think we were 20 points down at half time. We were still a bit of a sniff, and then unfortunately, any hope that we did have going into the second half was evaporated pretty quickly, and it was another big loss. This time to the hands of Port Adelaide.
Was it the pressure in the first half that you think kept us in it, or we looked okay from clearance as well?
Yeah, we did dominate in the centre as well. I think it was a lot of it. For me, a lot of and this was very evident against Essendon as well. We turn our ball over when it's either that last kick going into our forward 50 or that last kick leaving our defensive 50 where we turn the ball over, and that's actually most of the time where the opposition do get their scoring opportunities from, because we've been dominating out of the centre for most of the year, and our midfield is our strength. And we know how damaging like someone like LDU or Tom Powell can be when they're winning the ball in the middle of the ground and getting it straight out of the centre. But that hasn't really been as much of an issue for us as it has been. It's the poor disposal on that last kick, and then our inability just to stop the other team transitioning the ball really quickly down the other end of the ground. I mean, Travis Boak, he was playing sort of a half back role, and he was just feeding the ball himself out of our attacking 50. Jason Horne-Francis, we had no answers for him. He was by far and away the best player on the ground. Todd Marshall, exposed Will Dawson in his second game. And again, it's the same thing as last week with Peter Wright. It's no knock on Will Dawson. It's just, he's a kid in his second game, and he's going to have to learn. And sometimes you do need to learn the hard way. And unfortunately this week it was learning the hard way by having Todd Marshall kick 5 on you. So, look, we know, sound like broken records because we know what the issues are, and they are pretty much the same week in, week out. But I did think that the first half was very, very, very good football. Some of the best football I've seen us play all season. The other issue, I think, for North is that when we are in a position where we are dominating, or we do have a passage of, 10 to 15 minutes where we actually are dominating, we just don't make the most of our opportunities.
We don't capitalise on the scoreboard.
No, exactly. And yes, we may, we do kick goals. We had 3 goals in the first quarter. We probably could have been up by 2 or 3 goals at quarter time if we just, were a little bit cleaner moving the ball forward, and obviously a bit straighter in front of goal. So there's a bunch of issues, and none of them are new to us, unfortunately. It's been very similar, and while there definitely are signs of improvement as sort of the first half of the season's gone on, I kind of sit here now going into the bye, and, after the Geelong game, I said we've got 5 or 6 games now until the bye where we can really prove, see where we're at as a club. And unfortunately, it looks like we are quite far off the mark still. Yeah,
I think the thing for me about this game is it felt exactly like normal. And I think that's what was the disappointing thing for me.
It's a good summary.
Yeah, watching the first half, really happy with the effort. There were certain players standing up. We were looking fairly sharp. But did we ever really think it would be sustained? Not really. And it's on the club to prove that to us. We can support them and back them. But unless they show us that there's signs and improving and they can do it, I don't know if it's fully on us to know it's going to happen. You know what I mean? It just felt like we turned up. We did exactly what we did last week against the Bombers, against a team that could take advantage of us a little bit more. And then we sort of went home. And I guess it was a very flat feel after the, in the aftermath of the game, reading people's comments online and even listening to the press conference and that sort of stuff. I think we limped to the bye. And, we can talk about maybe how we're both feeling up to this point. We're doing a mid-season review next week, which is going to be very exciting. We've got the Close to a Flag boys coming. But, I said this to you just before we started, which I think hopefully replicates how a lot of the North fans are feeling. Of last year, we had so many people coming up to us going, it's not going to get worse. It can't get much worse, mate. It's fine. And I said, it absolutely can get worse. We can win no games.
Welcome.
And I said that tongue-in-cheek. And here we are, sitting at the bye, being 0-11. And it's just so... I think it's slowly seeping in that this is a bit of a write-off of a season, another one. And unless we go and this is getting way ahead, but unless we go really hard in not even drafting, I'm not even thinking about that at the moment, recruitment of senior players, but not senior players that can't play a role. Like Liam Shields was great, and we talked about Liam Shields yesterday, did a good job, but Liam Shields isn't probably going to be there next year. So then is that another missing piece? We need to recruit people like the Parkers and the Ollie Wines, even though I think that's a bit sceptical. Like those type of player, the 29, 30-year-olds who have got 5 years left in them, who can actually do something on the field. So, I don't know. I sort of feel a bit flat. You know, we always try and look at the positives and look at McKercher and look at Sheasel playing his midfield role, or Paul Curtis had a good year in the forward line, even though the last few weeks been a bit quieter. You know, the Chom in defence we talk about every single week. Look at a Will Dawson debuting, Jackson Archer, all these things, and they're all positives. But unless it comes together for a win or a genuine we're in it in the last quarter, not that it doesn't matter, because debuting these guys and getting the system together is what we need to do, but I don't blame any fan for feeling incredibly defeated and flat. So I can't thank the buy enough this week, to be honest.
I think we all kind of just need a bit of a reset this week, and just, it's so weird, such an abusive relationship. Like,
it really is.
It really stresses me out knowing that I'm not going to watch North play now for the week, and then, won't be back until the following week. And it stresses me out even more that I'm not going to go to the footy to watch North play for 3 weeks. But at the same time, like, why do I feel like this when they've just hurt me for the last 11 weeks?
Yeah, you're part of the problem, Marnie. Yeah, definitely. You're part of the problem.
Great, thanks for clarifying. Help. God help us.
Send help.
Anyway, look, let's have a quick chat just about a few talking points of the game,
from the
and then
game,
we actually have some questions that we thought we'd answer just as something a bit different. Let's talk about probably our best player on the ground, LDU, another best on ground for North performance, in my opinion. I thought he was excellent once again.
Yeah.
He sort of did it all, and again contributed on the scoreboard, which is what he needs to do. I thought he was great, and I think it's really pleasing to see him actually do something with the ball. You know, we did talk about him against the Suns, and, a lot of, it just seemed really lazy, and, a lot of his ball was turnover. And while he did have a really good second half in that game against the Suns, probably just, I think a lot of us were just like, what is going on? But his response in the last couple of weeks has been sensational.
Yeah, I really wish maybe his performance could lift a few of the other guys as well. But you're right, like he can't do any more than he's doing the last few weeks as well. So it's good to see him hit some targets. You get on the scoreboard, which a few weeks ago I sort of likened him to a Petrarca. I'm not saying he's on that level, but...
No, but that's what he should be striving for.
So that's what he should be striving for, because I think he's got all the attributes to be that player. And obviously the defensive side of the ball for him is an area to work on. But I also said if he can add goals and scoring to his game, that's going to take him up a level. So if he can continue that for the rest of the year, he goes up a level from last year. Then I guess is the scary thing of the contract situation. If the team around him doesn't improve, he's probably moving on. But look, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
It's
but no,
not
LDU
coming,
was...
so he'll sign an extension. It's fine.
Okay.
I'm putting that out into the universe. I don't want to think...
No, you are the positive manifesto, Marnie.
I don't want to think of a world where like these things happen. You know what I mean?
See, I'm so different than that. I'm like, let's mentally prepare for him leaving, and if he stays, I'll be happy. That's how my brain works.
I just want to be happy all the time, which is tough being a North supporter.
Because you get let down all the time.
I do what I look.
Oh, God.
You know who didn't let me down yesterday?
Oh, okay. Let's get this over and done with.
Why do you want to rush my opportunity to gloat about Darcy Tucker?
Because he's played 10 shockers, Marnie. Because he's played 10 shockers. And you've been waiting for this day. And you can have your time. I'm going to give you the platform in a second.
So we spoke about Darcy Tucker.
Hang on. Let me mentally prepare. I'm just getting myself ready for this.
You've had like 24 hours because you knew this was coming. So last week I said on the podcast that all I wanted in my life was Darcy Tucker to be good. And he just isn't. Okay?
He just isn't.
He hasn't really been that good.
Did he listen to the Feather North podcast, mate?
Do you know what? We gave Zach Fisher a spray after the St Kilda game came out and has literally not put a foot wrong since. LDU, same thing.
Spoiler alert, in the voice messages coming up, there is a voice message from a very loyal listener saying every player we diss comes good. And it's very funny, and we'll play it soon.
But, I love that.
No, it is, you know what? It's kind of true. So
if we give someone a spray, they perform the week later.
Aldi, you did it. Sherry did it.
Okay, Clarko, if you're listening,
the
fact that you're not playing Hugh Greenwood is a dead set disgrace.
Okay, we've tried this one, Marnie. He doesn't play him, all right?
That's one that I just can't control.
You can pick. You can talk about Tucker or Greenwood.
No, we're talking about Darcy Tucker today. Okay. He was probably played his best game for North yesterday.
Low bar, but yes.
No, but he was He
was good.
Actually really good. He was in our best. He played really well. He and Curtis Taylor played really well as those like link up players in quite a few passages of play yesterday. I was very impressed. Body on the line. Yesterday he was the player that I want him to be. So he's proven to me that he can do it.
Yeah.
Now I just hope that he can do it on a regular basis.
Yeah, is he gonna be a Lazaro where he sort of showed it last year and you're like, okay, in the preseason, I can tuck in the preseason, but he's like, okay, and then comes back disappointing? Or is he gonna be like a Tristan Sherry that you're like, this guy sucks. Oh, maybe he can do something and he becomes a good player. Who knows?
The latter, because I think he's going to be a star. So.
Oh no! Just like Curtis Taylor has superstar potential. I think
Curtis Taylor's had a really good 2 weeks. Okay, that's not wrong.
It's wrong, but like you just need to tone that statement down about half. And I think,
why would I do that? That's your job, not mine.
Yeah, I know. I know.
So yeah, shout out Darcy Tucker. Excellent performance yesterday. Probably one of the best I've seen him play for North. The other player I want to talk about, you just touched on before, was Liam Shields.
Yes.
He's come into the side as a tagger, and yesterday he spent the first half on Butters, and he did an unbelievable shutdown.
Did Butters have like nine touches
he had
to half time or something?
Like less, I reckon.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw. When I looked at the stats, I was like, I think he only had roughly nine, give or take a little bit. But
no, excellent. He did
the
great
physicality
job.
He brings too, though, right? Like we said this last week, and there's a couple of times when he laid a tackle on Horn Francis, and he made sure he drove him into the ground. And a lot of our players just don't do that. We're like, oh my god, let's try and tackle him. Oh. He slipped away. And Liam Shields, at least I know Liam Shields is sticking a tackle. He might not be the quickest, most athletic, might not be able to get into the positions.
He's always giving himself 100% every time he gets on that field. Unfortunately for Mr. Shields, he was moved on to Horn Francis in the second half, and while Horn Francis wasn't as damaging in the second half, we still had no answers. He ran rings around us all day. And credit to him, he's an excellent player, so,
No, I hate him. I don't want to talk about him.
Okay, we won't talk about him.
I hope he gets dropped and never plays again.
That suits me fine not to talk about him. Not to talk about him at all. But
the things I want to say about Jason North-Francis I can't repeat in public.
We're not going there. One thing I do want to talk about, and it's sort of, we've had patches over the years where we have had the tagger role. We've had...
Ben Jacobs,
he was...
Curtis Taylor, famous North Melbourne tagger.
Curtis Taylor has done some tagging work. Eddie Ford has been a bit of a tagger. He's played that. He played a role on Sicily earlier in the year, that shutdown role on Sicily when we played Hawthorn, and he did a really great job. So... now we've got Shields. He
did on Lever too, actually, when we played the D's last year. He didn't shut him down, I guess, but he dragged him out of the contest, so Lever couldn't drop in and take those intercept marks.
So it's begs a question and I think this is a general footy question because it is spoken about quite a lot. Is there a place for the tagger?
I think definitely in our side, yes. When we're always the underdog and always the lesser team, why not? Like honestly, I think we probably need a few of them. Because we're not going to win a lot of these games. So, yeah, I think there's a role to play. I think once your team is, in the ascendancy and you're a top 8, top 4 team, you don't need to tag anybody. The Swans don't need to tag anybody right now.
No,
they just do what they want to do. But if you're, the lesser team, I think you kind of have to. And North always being the lesser team, I think every week there's a midfield we need to shut down. And I said this in the preview of Port's midfield is going to run rings around us because of how physical they are.
Yeah.
And, well done Liam Shields for the tagging role. But imagine if we didn't tag.
Yeah.
We would have lost by 70 plus.
Yeah.
So, I think there absolutely is just because of where we're at. And then, maybe the tagger these days is sort of a little bit dead. But I think the football's so fast-paced and link-up transition offense, the tagger almost doesn't matter as much anymore. But like I said, when you're scraping the bottom of the ladder, there's always people to tag. So I think yes.
Well, it seems like there is a place for a tagger in any side because yesterday on the broadcast, and I just hope that I wasn't dreaming this, but I'm pretty sure it happened. No. So Jeremy Finlayson didn't really do anything yesterday.
No.
He was well held by our number one defender, Aiden Core.
Oh.
There was an implication, and I just need someone to clarify this, okay? Derek Brereton implied that Finlayson was playing a negating role on Aiden Core.
Did he really?
Core.
Oh,
Yeah. I swear I'm not joking. I swear I'm not making this up.
If anyone else heard that, can you please write into us, comment on the post, just confirm this,
I'll
please.
go look for it as well when I go home and after I finish recording.
Now, was the Botox in Dermot's head maybe getting into his brain, or because I'm not sure?
It was me injecting.
Or were you just hearing what you wanted to hear, Marnie?
No. I'm telling you now.
Are you sure Darcy Tucker was best on ground, or did you dream that? And today's the game. It's actually in half an hour. We need to watch it.
No, guys. Please, if anyone else heard this. He made this implication that Finlayson was trying to drag Core away from the marking.
Well, is that what Eddie Ford did to Jake Lever, like we just talked about? Do you think that was true?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Was it? I need to know if that was implied by Derek Brereton. Please, this is my Roman Empire this week.
Oh,
this is how depressing life is as a North supporter.
Help us.
This is what I'm hanging on to.
Make Marnie's life better and confirm to her if she's right or not.
In his 150th game, he played really well yesterday. Obviously, like I said, it sounded like Finlayson was actually playing this negating role on Core. So I just really need somebody, if anyone else was listening, it was watching on Fox Footy and was listening to Derek Brereton commentating, it was in the second quarter, I need someone to confirm this. I'm going to go have a look at it after we finish recording as well.
Okay. Well, wow. This is breaking news, guys. It doesn't get much bigger than this. You know what? Don't worry about the Charlie Comben song at the end of this podcast. Let's just find that.
Yeah, I didn't even tell you this before.
No, you didn't tell me. I didn't know.
Okay, so this is what I think's happened. Okay. This is how depressing. This is where we're at. Okay.
Thank God for the bye.
Let's talk about a couple of negative things. I want to move to the other end of the ground. I thought, first of all, yesterday reconfirmed to me that Eddie Ford needs to play start to finish every game.
Yeah, of course.
I think he was just lively and he adds something. If he's not kicking goals, he's tackling. There's always pressure. He always gives 100%. You know what you're going to do.
He's doing something. Eddie Ford's not going to be most of the time not going to be anonymous in the game.
No, exactly. And he's not a player. He does come in and out of the game a little bit, but he's always having an impact like he did yesterday. But I want to talk about two forwards, that really disappointed me yesterday and probably have disappointed me for the last few weeks.
Probably the season.
Let's talk. We spoke about Larky last week, but I want to talk about him again because yesterday was the first time. So the last 29 games before yesterday, he had kicked at least one goal in a game, and he didn't kick a goal yesterday. I mean, he's gone completely off the boil.
Yeah.
He was completely shut out of the game yesterday. What's going on?
Well, there's one thing I want to say about Larky is actually a positive, which I thought from especially his first half yesterday. I didn't notice him getting pushed under the ball as much. I thought, especially
take a few contested marks.
Yes,
early.
in the first quarter and his second quarter, I found the difference in Larky's game was he wasn't getting pushed under the ball. He took a good contested mark in the first quarter. So I was like, okay, this is an improvement. Obviously, the game didn't pan out to be good for him because he's getting held. Look at most of that game. You see Radigalia just completely smothering him and then another defender coming from the side. This is the worst bit about our team we've been saying for weeks is our forward line. But you look back at a lot of these teams in history and they build from the back. We were going full offense and there's a bird outside. I mean, I don't know if that's
We're really getting distracted by anything.
I don't know if you guys just heard that. There's a bird outside the
Sorry.
window. Bird, piss off. I don't know if... I think our back line, we're building from the back a little bit more. So the first half of the season, the first portion of the season, all offense, north ball, out of the middle, attack, our back line was atrocious.
Yeah.
Now we've slowly turned the screw and the back line looks a little bit better. The midfield, when it's on, looks a little bit better. We're not leaking as much as we were. And the forward line's now the problem. I would have probably said the forward line was functioning the best because we were putting 80 plus points up for the first month to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's gone now because we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
So, yes, I agree Larky has been disappointing this year, but I'd say that forward line and the lack of support with him, the defenses we play against didn't know to even think about Nick Larky before last season. I know we knew he was a good player, but with what he did last year, demands respect. Now they're giving him that respect. Our forward 50 entry does nothing for him. I think he's just as much of a victim of this system as he is maybe not having a great year. The one thing I can criticise him for is his goal kicking. I don't know if I'm trusting him in front of goal right now.
Yeah.
which is something I never, ever, ever thought I would be saying about Nick Larkey. Now, I believe he'll turn that around and he'll get back to his old way. He needs to start kicking through the ball a little bit more, I think. And this is not obviously coming from a place of experience. My only experience is winning the under-16s goal kicking for 2 years in a row. Don't want to brag too much.
That is, I would...
You count
I'd be bragging about that till the cows come home.
The only comparison I'm going to make here is Drew Petrie. Drew Petrie, when he kicked the ball, every single time kicked it as far as he could. The amount of times I nearly saw Drew Petrie's balls when he kicked the ball was unbelievable because of the height he put his leg at, okay? I don't want to see Nick Larkey's ball. I'm just saying, I want Nick Larkey to kick through the ball a little bit more because every single time he's just poking at it and that has worked for him. But as we've seen with like a Mackay, if your kicking isn't working, you need to change something about it. And he's turned his whole, not career around.
No, he's had a great season.
He's had a great season.
Mackay, yeah.
So it's like, Larkey stabs at the ball, and that was working last year. It's not working. Let's just change something. And the thing I would say is, if you poke at the ball, you're not following through correctly, which can, sometimes send the ball to the left or the right a little bit more. I'm not a goal kicking coach. Look, people might be laughing at me right here, but I think if he can just kick through the ball a little bit more and stop trying to stab it, maybe that would give him a little bit of a different rhythm and flow. I'll never tell him how to kick goals any more than that because he's a superstar and I love Nick Larkey. But yeah, I've talked for a long time here, but I think he's just as much of a victim of our bad structure in the forward line as much as he's out of form.
Yeah, and like you said, he's not really getting much help. I mean, poor Toby Pink, he's trying his heart out. Yesterday, he and Chom swapped, late in the game, and, Pink went back and Chom went forward, and that still didn't really do anything. So, yeah, it remains, I think, opposition. We've had a lot of people come on the preview pod and say, I think your back line is, where you need the most work and where you need to recruit. But you and I could sit here and completely disagree.
Yeah, I mean, they don't watch the games, and why would they? I wouldn't watch North if I wasn't a North fan.
I would.
So, okay. So, we've at the start of the year when everyone's got eyes on every game, we're all watching to see who's good and who's not.
That's when
and that's when the defence was rubbish. And then we've turned that, and we know as a fan base our defence is probably our best line at the moment. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
The midfield when it's on is pretty elite, honestly, but when it's off, it's probably the worst.
Yeah.
And then the forward line, look at Curtis at the start of the year. Like he was still kicking to a game at the start of the year.
Yeah.
But that whole forward line structure has completely gone away. Zerha's poor form, has contributed to that. And, his maybe lack of willingness to create a contest or do anything but the Jake Stringer highlight goal. But
he
hey...
just kind of... Cam Zerha just kind of does what he wants.
He's on the field.
If he wants to perform, he will. If he doesn't, he won't.
Sounds like a man checked out to me.
Yeah.
Let's talk about one more forward before we go to the voice messages and the questions. Dersma. What do you think needs to happen with Big Game Zane? I back this guy and he's going to be a fantastic player in the future. I think, once again, our lack of forward cohesiveness is hurting him. But I also think he looks better played as a deep forward. But then he gets around the ball more when he's played off half forward and pushes up the ground. So I'm not sure where to play him.
The VFL.
I think you might be right for confidence.
I think he just needs a bit of time, maybe to also just add a little bit more size as well. Because if he does, he did look okay as a deep forward yesterday. Yeah. But, he's young and he's small. But
he's not getting any delivery as well. None of these players know to lead. How many times have you seen someone kick a ball to a lead in this forward line?
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
very rarely.
And it's 11 games in and that hasn't improved. And if you're a 4-time premiership coach, Alistair Clarkson, how are you not seeing at least? It's so simple. Just say lead. Every time you break from the centre, kick to someone's chest.
Do you know who kicks the ball and delivers the ball into our forward 50 very well?
Besides Sheasel McKercher?
Who's not playing at the moment?
Please don't say Darcy Tucker.
No, Darcy Tucker's in the side. Wilfil.
Yeah, I just think the times... We've got a question about Wilfil coming up, so maybe we talk about that a little bit more there. But I think Wilfil... I just don't think he's going to make it. And that's not necessarily because he's not good enough. I think the club sort of made the choice. We're so bad, Marnie, and if he's not getting a game in that midfield when we're at the bottom of the ladder, I don't know how he does when we're out of the bottom four. Not necessarily because of his own ability, but also kind of because he's played, 3 games this year? 2, 3? I don't know. He's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that one.
So it's harsh.
Anyway, back to Dersma
yeah.
though. I think he was dropped and he went back into the VFL for a game and then he was recalled, and that's all fair enough. I don't think playing him in the VFL is a punishment. I actually think it will just do him some good, just to, get his hands on the footy a bit more, kick big bags in front of goal and just kind of, like you said, for confidence, like build his, give him a month, give him the first month.
We need to
after
stop
the
looking.
bye.
We need to stop looking at the twos as a punishment, because it's not. I don't know when this must have changed, like in 2010 and beyond, because I was talking to one of my mates, Adam, at work, and he's saying like how many of these Geelong players sort of were in the VFL for like 3 years and things like that back in before their premiership era, then came into the team and were stars. And it's like the VFL is not, and beyond that, you go back to the 90s and the 80s, the twos wasn't seen as a death sentence, and it is now for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, use this to develop players. Like, we're all saying how good Will Dawson has looked in the VFL, and now he's getting his opportunity. He'll go back, I reckon, after the bye and probably play in the VFL again to continue his development. But if he plays 3 years of VFL and comes back in when he's 100 kilos and he's taking marks for fun and we're ready to start pushing up the ladder, fantastic. I'm not going to think about, I was in the twos for 3 years, I'm bad. That mentality needs to go, because I don't know where this has come from. And, us saying Dersma needs to go to the twos isn't a diss at all. Just like Dylan Stephens. I still believe in us, think he'll be a good player long term for us. But get that continuity. There's different ways to find continuity. Chom found continuity in the VFL playing the first 4 games or 3 or 4 games down there. Now he's getting continuity for his career, performing in the ones, and then he'll probably, as Clarkson has said, go back forward. And after he's had the continuity of a full season, his body will hold up more, and then he can take those pack marks up forward. There's different ways to do it. So, look, I love Zane Dersma, and he's going to be a star. You can see when he's around the ball how electric he can be.
100%, he's really lively, and that's actually something we don't have a lot of. We have a lot of players who are stagnant.
He's going to be a game changer.
I think so too. He's someone who really can make magic happen.
Yeah.
But I just think going back to the VFL for a few weeks, let him build some confidence. The other thing with the VFL is, like, you look at teams who have been successful in the last sort of decade, so say Richmond and Geelong, let's use them as their examples. Their VFL program is rock solid. Their VFL teams have won premierships as well. Yeah. And having a really good VFL side with good culture, with good standards, all that sort of thing is part of the key to creating a really solid AFL team. Look
at that VFL side. Was it the prelim or the semi-final we played against the Demons last year in the VFL? And they were half eight. Brady Grundy was in the side. Yeah. Adam Tomlinson and, what's the other player? Tom McDonald. Yeah. And those players were playing through the VFL. Some of their good midfielders are playing the VFL.
And that's the key.
So there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Like, I really wish it was still like it was back in the 90s and everything, where the VFL would be the curtain raiser to the AFL. Very highly regarded. I would go and watch both of those games all the time. Yeah. And look, obviously the AFL sold out a bit for money with that, and I get it, I guess. But, if there was a curtain raiser to the ones, it's not going to be seen as a bad thing, because people will be going and watching it and understand what it's about. But look, I think you're right. Ders needs to go back to the twos for a bit, get that confidence, but have continuity of a month in the twos.
I agree.
Then come back and see how we go.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Let's go to the voice messages then.
Thank you to everyone who sent in your voice messages.
Yes,
we love hearing.
We've got some good ones this week,
you guys. For those of you who do want to have your say on the pod, we play voice messages every single week. Just send them in post game, 15 seconds of your very best content to furthernorthpod@gmail.com, and we'll play them on the show.
Josh, Marnie, it's Jared from Tassie. On behalf of all Tasmanians, we're sorry. We're sorry we've turned this into a fortress of nightmares. Oh well, par for the course. Go Roos. Can't lose in a bye. Take the small wins.
G'day Josh and Marnie, it's Bixie the Rescue Cat here. One of my favourite things about your podcast is that whenever you bag out a player, they always come good. Look at Aiden Corr, probably the best backman in the league at the moment. Tristan Cherry, All-Australian form. But Darcy Tucker, close to best on ground this week, 132 AFL fantasy points. What did he get? 29 possessions, 12 marks, 7 tackles, 7 rebound 50s. Incredible effort. You should bag him out more often. This is fantastic.
I'm sorry. This is after Horn Francis kicked the goal late in the second quarter. But he's a fucking dog. I can't wait for Port Adelaide to play at Marvel. I'm going to boo him all game. I don't care if I have to follow him around the ground.
Hey Josh, hey Marnie. At least we don't have any heartache next week. Because we can't lose because we have the bye. And one other thing, Jason Horne-Francis, what a smart ass.
1 goal to North Melbourne to 6 goals 5 for Port in the third quarter. Fair dinkum. When is someone going to say I've had a gutful of it and take a stand for the club that they're in? Clarko, stop singing them fucking lullabies in that half-time break because the team just goes to sleep. Pull your heads in, bloody lift your socks up, get into it, and bloody make a stand for something in your lives. Disgraceful. Utterly disgraceful.
Those red time goals again. That third quarter again. Alright, I think it's time. See Lazaro. Anyone but Lazaro. Pink's not working in the forward line. Oh, it's just the same thing again, except we lose by 10 goals instead of 5.
Thank you to Bixie, especially the rescue cat, for that one. How do you feel about that, Marnie? Are we getting called out here a little bit, or is he saying, keep doing this, guys? You can change this team around.
No, I think he's telling us to keep doing it. It's the positive Delulu of me that wants to believe that we've got the full support.
So who are we bagging out for after the bye?
Aiden Core.
No, no.
I just never want this honeymoon phase to end with him.
That is true. Swiftly moving on, we've got some questions for you guys. So thank you for writing in on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Further North Pod on all of those. Further North Podcast on Facebook. We'll always try and connect with you guys. Don't forget as well, Charlie Comben song is coming at the end of the podcast. I know I'm hyping this up a lot, but it genuinely is so good.
It's worth the wait.
And if you're thinking about switching off because you don't want to hear about North, at least skip to that song.
Yeah.
Because it's fantastic, but don't listen to the whole
listen to
podcast.
what we have to say.
Please listen to us. Okay, let's go to some of the questions. We're going to go to Facebook. So Greg on Facebook says, was that Tucker's best game for North?
Yes.
And he also says, why can't we get the ball inside 50 when we match teams in every other stat?
Yes, that was Tucker's best game for North, as I've just gloated about for
Easy to jump over the low bar.
Few minutes. Why can't we? Because we don't lower the eyes. Like, if you watch our execution inside 450, and we just spoke about this, you know, back in the day when we had like Drew Petrie and Ben Brown, our midfielders they utilised the magnetic ball. So rather than kick it on top of the player and on top of their head when they were standing there in the spot, they would kick it 10 metres in front into space, and they would draw Petrie, or they would draw Waite or Ben Brown to the ball. We just don't do that. So we don't, our midfielders and those players are kicking the ball inside the forward 50 and not kicking it to the advantage of our players whatsoever.
Yeah, I think the thing for me is, like, we're always under so much pressure and we're so down on confidence that the players don't have the confidence to know they can take an extra step, lower the eyes and hit someone. Our forwards also don't lead, which is something that I don't understand at all. It's such a simple, basic under 12s type thing, but they don't. Other than that, I just think we're under so much pressure in the midfield and we're so down on confidence that they just go, oh, I've got the ball, oh my God, and they just boot it long. So
yeah, I think
that would be my assessment.
We're very stagnant across the board, and that is definitely evident in the forward line.
Nathan Griffin, why isn't our delivery into the forward 50 improved? Here we go.
Question.
Watching live, forwards seem to be okay with leading patterns. I don't know. But we kick it in there on their head or just miss them totally. Also, we struggle when a loose man is playing in defence like yesterday. I think it sort of goes on from the last comment. Like, you know, I don't know if I agree with the leading patterns. I don't see many players leading at all. I see a lot of players saying kick it long. Larky's in that goal square saying send it long to me. They'll put out a few half-assed leads, to be honest, from the games I've watched live especially. I don't see them leading that much. Do you sort of agree with that?
Yeah, I do. And like I said, we kick the ball on the top of a player's head, or as Nathan has said,
like he needs to not get pushed under the ball.
We just misjudged it. The other thing is like, part of the problem is the marking, but part of the problem is we can't bring the ball to ground either. Like, if someone like Larky or someone like, say, Toby Pink's actually not bad at this, but if you can't create a contest, if you can't mark the ball, then at least try and spoil it, at least be a bit physical so then you can bring the ball to ground, and then someone like a Stevenson or a Curtis or a Ford can crumb the ball, and then, you know, it's an opportunistic sort of goal. But unfortunately, our small forwards don't read the play like that either. So I think it's just, as a forward line, we're lacking synergy. Whether that's because we had 11 games now. I mean, there should be
more synergy.
Yeah,
I think the thing that I don't like is that we're very predictable, and teams know that they can just float across wherever Larky is and take that mark. You know, and if any team has an intercepting mark, marking defender in their back line. It's easy pickings because we don't have plan B. So the other thing, you're right, is I never see any of our players at the backside of a pack.
Yeah, never.
Because the ball's always most of the time going to spill over the back, and they always have 3 there to mop up, and it's out of the 50. So sad times for us. Joshua Rako. Do you agree with whatever happens for the rest of the year that Clarkson will be under serious pressure next year?
Not internally, but potentially externally.
I agree with that. Externally, I think he's under pressure now, but I wouldn't be too bothered by that. Next season, there's pressure to improve. I don't think there's heaps of actual pressure to get fired, though. I would be giving Clarkson this entire contract. His career has earned him that, and our football club's pathetic state has earned him that respect as well. So I would say no, but the media will.
Well, I just want to say one thing on this. By saying that we don't think Clarko will be under pressure doesn't mean that we're accepting the performance.
No, of course.
We are as hurt and as disappointed as anyone that we haven't seen a win yet this year, and that things maybe have improved, maybe they haven't. I personally don't know if we'll be able to make an assessment until the end of the year now. I thought I'd know by now. I'm still no clearer than I was walking into this season. But I think we need to give him one more year after this to really make something happen. Otherwise, I think questions will need to be asked.
North's not going to be able to afford to fire him and pay someone else, though, with the money he's on. So.
Well, I don't think... The other thing with North is this is a long-term project.
Well,
we're all
So,
aware.
yeah.
This is a long-term project, and if we're committing to this as a long-term project and a long-term rebuild to try and do it properly, chopping and changing the head coach every 2 to 3 seasons.
Look, this is what Carlton did wrong for years. Is just get rid of the coach, get rid of the coach.
It's not a good idea. I think we need to stick with him for 4 or 5 years. Let him actually, do what we believe he will be able to do and bring us, a bit of sustainability and long-term for the future. And if, it's frustrating because, if we're sitting here in 3 years' time, we still don't see any improvement, which I don't think is going to happen. Then obviously it's why don't we get rid of him sooner? It's a hindsight question, and it's I just don't think there's a right or wrong answer right now.
This is going to sound a bit passive-aggressive, and this is where I think we'll end the question, so we don't get too angry. If any fans haven't noticed or accepted yet, we're one of the worst teams in AFL history, and we need to fully accept that. I've accepted that. And not in a negative way of this is where we're going to be, but if we don't accept that we're genuinely one of the worst clubs in AFL history, and we give Clarkson the time to fix that, we're not going to improve at all. I understand performances on the field, they can be questioned, and I understand why the question marks will come from fans and the media. But realistically, Clarkson's change at Hawthorn was 4 years. 4 years from the time he walked in the door to a premiership. We're not winning a premiership in that gap. We're not. But doesn't mean we won't get one day. What we need to remember is we are awful, and to try and turn around a club at such a low base that we're at right now is not a 1 or 2 year thing. I've been saying for probably the last 2 months now, it's 3 to 5 years before we even... 3 minimum. It's probably 3 to 5 years before we're even out of the bottom 4, personally. I don't think we're going to challenge for finals in the next 5 years. I would love that, and I hope I'm wrong. But... we need to understand this is going to be years. We're talking years here. And if we can stay the course, like Clarkson says, and he's right, even though he needs to do more to prove us that it's going in the right course, but we do need to stick fat here. In 10 years' time, if North's been on 3 finals runs, say we did win a granny or something like that, we're not going to care about this moment right now. I've said this a lot. Do Richmond fans think about Brett Deledio, or do they think about Dustin Martin? They think about Dustin Martin. And that was 10 years ago that Brett Deledio was there. Yeah. This is a moment in history and a moment in time. 10 years' time, we're all going to be here still. We're all going to be fans of this club still, if we like it or not. That's what we need to get to.
But Hugh Greenwood, if you're listening, I would never not think about you.
That is true.
I would never forget about you.
Jesse Stevenson, how do we stop our players knowing there is 2 minutes left of each quarter? I'm sick of giving up a goal or 2 late and making the quarter look so worse than it is. I agree with this because I'm also a Melbourne Victory fan, and the Melbourne Victory only give up goals in stoppage time, as we saw last night. Yeah. So, look, it seems maybe it's a me thing. Maybe every club I support, just leaks late goals. It is concerning how late this is, but it's a mentality thing. And until we get some actual 100%. Leadership and experience, a good leadership and experience down the back or literally anywhere on the park, that stuff's not going to improve.
I think it really separates good teams from the rest, though. I mean, a good side will grind out every last second of every quarter until it's done.
I agree.
not, throw in the towel. 120, 90 seconds to go.
At what point in his career do we start calling Chom Charles Comben? Is it before or after his third All-Australian? I think we start that right now.
Yeah, why not?
Is Charles, if you're listening, I think that's very fancy because he basically is the emperor down there, or the prime minister of our backline. So I feel like a more formal name is maybe needed. So Charles Comben.
The Honourable Charles Comben.
Is it the song at the end of the podcast? We'll just call it Charles. That's what the song's name is.
There you go.
And I think that's gonna show him. It's a bro country song as well. If you guys like Florida Georgia Line, you're gonna love this song.
Yes.
I don't love Florida Georgia Line. Marnie's the token country fan here. I steer clear of that. But hey, Charles Comben, I like the sound of it.
I like it too.
Is winning Charlie at the end of the year, like the Brownlow, is it going to be named to the Comben at the end of his career?
I don't see why not.
You're totally right, it will be. Oh no, Marnie, you try and read this one because I just don't want to butcher someone's last name.
Peter from the project. That's all he.
No, yeah, I know Peter, but say the last name. I'm scared.
I can't say it either. I'm so sorry, Peter. Peter's one of my good friends.
Sirocco?
Too, so really...
Sirocco?
Sorry,
Hello.
Peter, if we've butchered that.
Peter,
we love you.
We love you, Peter. Thank you for writing in. I'm so sorry.
Peter from the project.
Yes. Go listen to the project, guys. They're fun. Go Crom. Hello, good morning or afternoon, whatever you are in the eastern seaboard. Wow, this is interstate rivalry. Was Roos 93 to 07 the most wasted dynasty of all time, despite 2 flags could have easily been more? He's thrown out the Saints 96 to 2010, Crom 05 to 07, Cats 12 to 21, or Port 05 to forever. The one I'm going to throw out is the Demons of recent years. I think from 2020, 2021 and beyond, I reckon the Demons right now is the most wasted dynasty ever.
No, I disagree with you.
Their list on paper, to me, apart from their forward line, I think if Ben Brown's healthy, this is different, but maybe apart from their forward line, probably the best list on paper in the AFL. Their midfield is untouchable. Their back line is untouchable. They've got them all in their primes. That COVID grand final, great, but they needed to go and win 3 of the next 5, and I think it's incredibly wasted.
So I'm going to say that I think the most wasted dynasty was Essendon of the late 90s, early 2000s. They only won 1 flag. Yeah. They probably should have won 3. They probably should have won 99, to be honest, as much as I hate saying it. They should have won 99 and they should have won 2001 as well. So in my opinion, they were pretty much unstoppable and they only won 1 flag.
Didn't get much out of it. And we got 2, so screw you guys.
That would be my answer.
Peter as well, we'll see you in the grand final next year when Adelaide and North Melbourne play in the last day of September as well.
Can't
wait. Okay, Jack Dalton. What's it going to take to fix our inside 50 entries? We've covered this a little bit. He's also asked a couple of extra things, so maybe we'll pick these ones. Will we honestly win a game this year? Keep in mind Richmond's performance last night, and they are likely to have the vast majority of their players back by round 21. Let's go to that one.
We will win a game. We'll win one
I
reckon we'll win 2 to 3 games this year.
Oh, God. Yeah, I'm not as optimistic, even though I really pray to be wrong because I love this club. But I think we win one somewhere. I always feel good against Hawthorn, and I don't know why, but I do. I could see us not winning a single game to the last game of the year, and we beat Hawthorn down in Launceston.
I think there's some games in there that are definitely winnable.
Eagles straight after the bye is interesting. They're up and about, but we do play them again at... No, we don't play them. We play them in Tassie. Yeah, we play them in Tassie.
Launceston Arena. We also play... I know that the Gold Coast have been up and about this season, but we do play them at Marvel on my birthday.
Wow.
And if the club wants to give me the best 30th birthday present of all time, that's what I'll be waiting for.
Hugh Greenwood better be playing.
I know he better be playing. We've got, as you just mentioned, Josh, we've got Jake's mentioned as well, we've got Richmond later on in the season. We do play Hawthorn again. I think there's games there that are definitely winnable.
I think the Richmond one is going to be a hard one, though, because they can turn it on. And they will have most of their players back by that time.
I think we will catch a couple of teams unexpectedly who they are. And
I don't think we'll win a game if we're favourites or have a chance. I think I think it's too much mental pressure for this team.
We're never going to be favourites.
No, but okay, so as an example, you go into Hawthorn and that's a chance. You go into Richmond, if we went now, that's a chance.
Right, so you reckon it's just an underdog where someone
like a Sydney last year
us.
Where we're like, oh, we're winning. This is crazy. I know it didn't end well, but I think that's going to be our win. I don't think this team has the nous or the guts yet to be able to go, we're playing Richmond today, let's destroy them.
We will win.
They can prove that to me, but I won't believe it till
This
I
won't be a winless season, though. I don't believe that.
Yeah, Jake also touched on Will Phillips, but we have already talked about that a little bit, so we might move on. But thank you, Jake, for writing in. Josh O'Day, is Darcy Tucker's redemption arc or a very short eye of the storm before it rains again with our tears?
Redemption arc.
Eye of the storm for sure. Darcy Tucker will come out against the Eagles, have 6 turnovers and 12 touches, and just go back to being Darcy Tucker.
That's not true. Darcy Tucker, his trajectory is only up from here.
It is when you're at the bottom. Michael Owen, which players, if any, should be a priority during the trade period? Now, I did read this question before. We're probably not going to touch on trade period. I have a mid-season draft podcast coming out either the day after this is released. I think we'll put it out on Monday or Tuesday this week because the draft is on Wednesday. So we won't talk about the mid-season or anything. We won't talk about the off-season just yet. But what I was going to ask from Michael's question, what is the most critical position at the moment that we need to fill?
Well, we just spoke about this. It's definitely a second key forward.
What other one? Give me your top 3.
So a second key forward, but someone who's ready. I'm not talking about Finbar and Sellers could be something.
Yeah, we need to recruit. We don't have anyone on the list.
So I also still think we probably do need a reliable key defender, like the 200 centimetre key defender. I still think we do need someone in that position. And then the third position, I would really like a buzzy small forward. If we could find one. Now, Jaden Stevenson's had a really good few weeks, but I don't think he's...
I don't trust him to put the tackling pressure on.
I'm talking like a Lindsay Thomas, like a real live... Nice. Oh, God, I miss Lindsay Thomas so much.
Matt Campbell? Eddie Sainsbury, maybe?
Any of them at this stage would do. But that real buzzy, live wire small forward, I think we could really, really do with one of those.
Well, you might be in luck, Marnie, because Phoenix Spicer is eligible in the mid-season draft.
Stop! You're giving me PTSD.
Luke Nenke. He's got a couple of rapid-fire ones, Marnie. I'll ask you these, and you're going to rapid-fire. Shees and Kirch, captains by 27 years old.
I hope we never have co-captains again after this.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
And I would be picking Shees of the two to captain.
I don't know, is by 2027 or by the time they're 27? Who knows? Yes for both. Do you think Zerha's recent better, not great form is only because he's putting on a show for potential new clubs? He was better the last couple of weeks, not against Port.
I think he's been bang ordinary.
Yeah, I think he's been incredibly ordinary. But like Luke's right. He did step up with a few goals. Was it the Gold Coast and the Saints game?
Yeah,
am I wrong there?
Yes.
And then the game's since then been quiet again. But look, I think he tries when we look better as a team. But I think he's out the door. So. Is what it is.
I said this to you at the start of the year. I said that I think that, and I still stand by this now halfway through the season, Cam Zerha needs to prove to North that he is worthy of a good contract.
Yeah, I'd be ripping up that 5-year deal we apparently offered him
as
now.
much as North need to prove that we're worthy of him sticking around. I think it's too early. I don't think either of them have come to the party.
No. Anyway.
You can't give someone a 5-year deal on potential.
Lastly, realistically, how long until we're challenging or competing again? And I don't know if that's for finals. Let's go. How long, in your gut feel, how long till we compete for finals and how long to a premiership?
3 years to finals, 5 years to a premiership.
Wow.
Heard it here first.
Okay. Marnie Cohen has written in a question
Who's
here.
Who's that? This is a special question for Josh.
Yeah. Do you want to read it to me then?
Do you love Aiden Core yet?
No. Jack Dalton says, with
Why
us...
not?
I don't. He's hurt me more than he's made me feel good. Until that is counterbalanced, no.
When is that going to be counterbalanced?
Never. Jake Dalton, he doesn't have enough years left on his contract. With us starting to see some potential down back, Chom, core lifting, maybe, McKercher, Fisher, Dawson, duo, is it ideal to stop Braden George's defensive experiment and integrate him back into the vehicle forward line as he was originally touted and signed for? Ratton had huge praise for him as a forward and think he'd flourish better there if he can get an injury-free patch. Yes. I'm over this halfback stuff. We've got about 45 halfbacks on our list, and I think we've only got 45 list spots. Stop playing him there. Yeah. Zerha's not going to be here. Old mate Dersma's out of form. Jaden Stevenson is patchy. We've got someone to replace
someone who's really exciting.
You know what I mean?
I do think there is merit in sending someone down back to learn
Get them around the
defensive-
ball.
and just to learn the defensive
Yeah.
side of the game. I think it's so important. One thing that we probably have, we've criticised on this podcast this year is there is a lot of one-way runners, and our team defence has been lacking. So I think giving him the opportunity to experiment down back and get that defensive element of his game right, maybe, and then bring him into the forward line. I'd love to see him debut this year.
Yeah, I hope that's what they're trying to do. And we get no word on this, which I think is, I would love communication on that. I mean, I don't know how you work on like forward half defensive craft in the back line. I'm not a coach, so I guess we've got to back them in, but I don't know. I think he's got more chance of getting a game if he's playing kicking goals on the forward line and lacking defensive ability.
Well,
now.
no one's really kicking goals in the forward line, so that would be
in our
nice
VFL
help.
and AFL at the moment, to be fair.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move to Instagram. Joseph_Baines27. Our backline may not be the issue. The midfield runs out of legs and makes hard defence.
Fitness is a big issue.
100%, and that is true. I've been saying this for a few weeks now. Yes, basically, our defence is the most solid part of our team right now. Still shaky,
Crazy.
which is why we're at the bottom. But no, I completely agree with that. Corey Vinci on Instagram. Can we get 5 years of experience in the boys in one preseason? That would be nice. Thanks. Marnie, is there a chance of that?
Yes, by bringing in some experience.
Yeah. And who would that be?
You said no more Hugh Greenwood chat.
Hugh Greenwood's already at the club.
Just keep him there.
Jam Wow with a 0 says, can we please stop playing Lazaro? He's Phoenix Spicer plus one good game. Shields also needs to go. Harsh on Shields, brings leadership. Last
Shields
few
has
weeks has been
really good, though, especially yesterday.
Don't agree with that. Lazaro, definitely better than Phoenix Spicer, but I don't know.
Lazaro, for me...
Disappointing after his preseason.
I think so too. I also think he's a victim of the system as well.
He's a victim of us not having any big bodies to allow him to just run on the outside as well. We just lack so much size. This is why, spoiler alert, in the podcast I did with Joel for the mid-season draft, we talk about maybe the size of our midfield all being around the 180 to 185 centimetre mark. And then you've got a guy like in the national draft at the end of the year, like a Josh Smiley, who's a 194 centimetre in and under midfielder. And it's like how desperately we're missing that. I knew Horn Francis and Ollie Wines and players like that would bully us yesterday, just like against the Giants with Tom Green and that sort of stuff. So, yes. Brighton_Isles is a lot of questions Brighton asked, so I've picked a couple of them. You're coaching North at halftime, Marnie, against a point against Port. Sorry, I've butchered this. You're coaching North at the halftime point against Port. Too many P's. What's your encouraging words / spray? So what would your coaching tactic be if you could choose? Would you give them words of inspiration or give them a spray?
I would give them words of inspiration.
Inspiration, maybe?
No, like why? Like I don't think we were in that game at halftime.
I would be giving them a spray, not in the way of saying they're bad, but you need to motivate them with passion and anger and desire a little bit. Like, at the moment I'm sort of like, I feel like Clark's like, look, good boys, good job, yeah, go out there and have fun. I don't want that. I want him to be like, you're in this game, push hard, pull your heads in, go and kill someone out there, go and attack and fight a little bit more. I don't know what he's saying in his halftime, quarter time things, but his words will be replicated with
I think the heads would be really low at the club at the moment. I don't think kicking players when they're
But
down
a spray
would be
doesn't
the right
necessarily
thing to
mean
do.
we're going to... Like, when I'd say spray, I mean an encouraging... Like, words of encouragement, saying they're doing
Words
well,
of
but like
inspiration,
deliver
a bit of
it,
a hype up.
deliver it harshly. Deliver it so they take it on board and get it in. I don't want like relaxed chat at this club anymore until we win a game. I think they need a little bit of a rocket up them as well. We need to find a balance between modern Clarko and old Clarko. I know Clarko has to rein himself in for all the soft people out there these days, but it's also his tactic worked, and I don't think players are as soft as all the boomers think they are. Like, players can take it. It's just a little bit of a different time, but there's a way to deliver a spray while encouraging players, and I would like to find that balance. Another one from Brighton. You're trapped in a cage with a grizzly bear. Which North player do you choose to save you?
Hugh Greenwood.
Okay. Hugh Greenwood? Interesting.
Hugh Greenwood would literally do anything for me, including save me from a cage where I'm trapped with a grizzly bear.
I would go Charles Comben. He's too reliable. I can rely on him to take an intercept mark in our back line. I can rely on him to save me from a grizzly bear.
Very predictable answers from the two of us.
Absolutely. Who's your non-predictable one then? Go on then.
My non-predictable.
Mate, can I say Harry Sheezel because he's going to save the club? You know what? Todd Viney. I'm going to go Todd Viney because he has to deal with so much rubbish every week. I just feel like he'd be like, I've had enough of this grizzly bear. Let's murder it and just go home.
I'm going to say Tristan Sherry is my non-predictable one.
He's the size of the grizzly bear, so
He'd
it's a fair
absolutely be able
fight.
to take the grizzly bear.
Wow.
He's very physical as well, so...
Nelson Shane Williams on Instagram. Is Chom needed more up forward? In the long term, yes. Right now, yes, honestly, but I don't think we can afford
Can't clone
that.
him.
We can't. If we could clone him, yes. But long term, I've turned on this after Clarkson's comments because it made a lot of sense, especially thinking about, Logue coming back and the prospect of Will Dawson and Callan coming back and that sort of stuff. Long term, next season and beyond, maybe yes, but right now, yes, but we need to keep him there.
I agree with you, for sure.
Okay, Brian again. Oh my God, how many did I pick from you, Brian? Who's most improved player and underachieving this year?
Most improved player for me would be Tristan Sherry.
Fair.
And underachieving, probably Nick Larkey.
Yeah, good call. I'll try. I probably agree with those two, but I'll go different. I'll go Paul Curtis most improved.
Paul Curtis most improved?
Yeah, I think Paul Curtis
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, look, last 2-3 weeks he's been quiet, but that first 3 quarters of our season so far was fantastic. He's probably been our best forward all year from last year when he was very, very down. His first year was very good, dropped so much last year, incredibly underwhelming, but I think his body of work this season has been very good. I think recency bias suggests he's not been great, but other than that,
That's fair.
underachieving, other than Larky,
Maybe Bull.
Bull. I was going to say maybe a Zach Fisher has been really good the last couple of weeks, but I maybe wanted a bit more off the bat. But yeah, Bull.
I want to ask you guys, actually, leave us, if you're watching us on YouTube, leave us a comment, or if you're not listening on YouTube, you're listening on your podcast app, then just send us a message. Who do you think's our most improved and most underwhelming player of the season? I think that's a really good question.
Question of the week. A couple of Twitter ones here, and then we're going to play the Charlie Comben song. Oh, and Sean Adley Club Champ, of course.
Of course. How could you forget?
I'm so sorry. Sean on Twitter, or X, whichever one you want to do. One, what do North need to do to earn a pass mark for the remainder of the season, whether on the field or off the field? Do we need to see in order of feel like there has been real progress? What do we need to see to feel like there's been real progress? That's the first question. Do you want to answer that one first?
Yeah, so I think I would probably say a pass mark. So what I would like us to win 2 or 3 games. I don't think one win is a pass mark. I think we need to win at least 3 games, in my opinion. That's the same as last season.
Yep.
But also I think we need to have we need to be a bit more competitive in our losses. Like, I know that there have been passages of play where, we have been competitive or it's been tight. Take the Essendon game as a really good example. With the exception of a 15-minute patch, we were pretty competitive, but that ends up being a 40-point loss. Like, I don't want to see that. I want games where honourable losses don't exist. It's a myth. It's just a way that people of just accepting mediocrity, in my opinion. But we're in this position where we haven't won a game
That's the
yet.
best we can get.
I want to see us really fight games out for 4 quarters. And if we fall short by a couple of goals because we're just not good enough, fine, so be it. We had quite a few of those games last season. So I want us to win a few games, but in games that we're not winning, I don't want us to be blown away by 6, 7, 8 goals just because we've had a 10, 15-minute brain fade.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I would say, and sort of mirroring that a little bit, like all year our first quarters have been pretty good. Maybe not against the Cats and the Lions. Other than that, they've been all right. Second quarters have improved the last few weeks. I want to see that go to 4 quarters eventually. Look, I understand what you mean about the honourable loss thing. I agree, but I also think where we're at right now, that's probably as best as we're going to get. And I
hate that.
Yeah, same.
I hate
but
that
that's
so much.
the reality where we
Sick.
are. We all went off from that Essendon game going fair play. And that is an honourable loss. And it sucks. We need to get rid of those. Absolutely we do. But hey, that's one thing I want to see. If we don't win 3 games, awful season. If we win 3 games, awful season anyway. There's no way we recover this season to anything that's acceptable. But if we don't win 3 and we regress, I understand why we've regressed with 1,300 games of experience leaving the club. But it just feels gross. And
Got to find a way to cover our losses at some point.
Yeah. We've touched on this one a little bit. Sean's asked about, is it good that Chom would be going back forward in the long term, good or bad move. I would say good move only because of our defensive stocks. None of them are elite or fill me with heaps of confidence. He does, unfortunately. But I'd say if we can get a more solid defence, Logue can come back, or we can recruit someone, even like an Adam Tomlinson or a Tom McDonald to play down there. Yes, I think it is a good move long term. But, it depends where we recruit.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one for sure.
Last question, Mark Laz on Twitter. Where is the hope going to come from? Actually, we have one more question after this on the Instagram.
From us.
Yes, no, I did. I did forget. There is one more question. Can you access the Instagram on your phone, please, Marnie?
My phone's not here.
Okay, I want to read out another question for somebody, but I can't. I don't know how to get this. Anyway, answer this, and I'll see if I can figure it out.
Sorry, guys. My phone's in another room when we record. From us, and I just want to say, again, thank you so much to everyone who does listen every single week and who does interact with the podcast. We're obviously very flat today. It's been a very long first half of the season, and we're both sort of feeling it a little bit. So we do really appreciate you guys taking the time to, listen to the pod, leave your comments, interact with us during the week as well. This is something, it's therapy for us. Hopefully it's therapy for you guys as well. So yeah, we really, really appreciate all of your support.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can bring the bit of joy and positivity that you guys need.
No, that is true. I don't think I've got the question here, and I feel really bad now because someone messaged us about that question, but I don't think we can get it. Do you want to grab your phone?
Yeah, hold this.
You grab the phone.
This is elite podcasting, you guys.
It is elite podcasting. I just feel bad because I was meant to put this screenshot in. I screenshotted it late. So Marnie's going to walk away and I'm going to talk to you guys for a little bit. I'm going to set up the song and then the Sean Atley Club champ. Marnie's not listening to this right now, so I can say whatever I want. Damn, she's already back. I was going to say some awful things about Marnie. The Sean Atley Club champ is coming up and it's getting very tight at the top. Marnie, you don't have the microphone right now, but how excited are you about Sean Atley Club champ? Because the top 3 are all 7 votes.
You mean the Aiden Core Club champ?
I hate that.
I love it.
Well, do you want to give the 3, 2, 1 now, or do we find this?
We haven't even agreed on it.
I know.
Should I just tell you what I think it should be, and then you agree with me?
Yeah, and I'll find this question so I don't feel...
So I would have 3 votes LDU, 2 votes Darcy Tucker, and 1 vote Harry Sheasel.
Say it again.
Actually, no, I changed my mind. 3 votes, because these are the players we spoke about today. 3 votes to LDU.
Yep.
2 votes Darcy Tucker. And I'm going to go 1 vote Liam Shields.
Oh, okay. See,
I'm
my
gonna
brain...
get so much hate for that.
My brain, I would have said LDU...
Don't leave Tucker out of that second spot.
I hate Darcy Tucker, but yes, unfortunately he played well. So LDU Tucker, I would put Chom because of his intercept marking. I just think he's the only player down there who gives me much confidence, and
I like that too.
I would throw Chom in there personally. Especially the first half, and the times that they could have blown us away, he took some vital intercept marks. And compared to Ben Mackay, not to bring up Mackay, but like when he kicks the ball to one of our players, I'm not as scared. So can I rally for your 2 at the top and give Chom the 1?
Sure.
Okay.
We're not going to a vote this week, guys.
Unlock this phone, please, Marnie, and let's read out the question because, I wasn't organised and prepared. Do you want to read out the question?
Sure.
Go for it.
I saw Harley read. I don't want to read it.
That's right. Now I remember what it's about.
Like many North fans, I've had multiple people say that we should have beaten Gold Coast. I don't want to read this. Gold Coast, I'm really sorry to whoever wrote this in. Gold Coast last year, and I've given them the speech as to why I'm glad we did. It's everywhere. I go on and rave about Colby, but someone mentioned that we could have had both Colby and Harley Reid with picks 1 and 2. Is this correct? And if so, what are your thoughts? I'm sick of defending our win. I need more ammo.
Now, the reason I put that in, and that is from Christy Stevens. Yeah, Christy Stevens. Sorry, Christy. The reason I put this one in is because this is what a lot of us North fans are going to be facing a lot of, and obviously, barbershop times, I get asked this about 12 times a day. You're saying all the right things, but I think the thing is, yes, we could have had pick 1 and 2. This is all hindsight, and if we tank that game, we're seen as, like the Demons were, criminals as well as being a rubbish club. We know the media is hyping this stuff up. Look at Harley Reid, blah, blah, blah. We've got 2 gems in Colby and Dersma. This is a long burn. in the future, we'll be able to find out who wins this, but it's not also about winning and losing it. I think it's important. Don't let people drag you down because of the thought of what we could have had. Plenty of clubs have been through this sort of stuff before. Look how many players the Demons drafted. Trengovs and Scullys and Watts and that sort of stuff, and they've won a premiership since then. This is the only reason why I want to put that question in. Great question, but I understand where she was coming from with... You give them the lines about, look, Colby's been great, and I think Colby has been more consistent than Harley Reid. Harley Reid's highlights are elite, and he's going to be an absolute gun of this competition. But consistency-wise, Colby is there. Not saying Colby's better than Harley Reid, but we've got to play it too. People act like we lost Harley Reid, so we got nothing, and we did not. We got some fantastic players in Dersmer and Colby. You've got to stick fat, and you've got to be like, well, look, we could have had that. We don't. We've got Clarko, we've got a better coach than the Eagles. We've still got more young talent than them. In the long term, we'll see where it goes. But I don't know, stay strong.
The club was in a lose-lose situation, to be honest, which 100%. Is wild because we won the game. But, you know, you win the game, you lose Harley Reid, you lose the game, and you have people questioning your integrity of a club that... I think North is a club that a lot of opposition fans are really desperate to bring down, and they're really desperate to...
We're an easy target.
Exactly. They like to beat up on the small guys.
It's soft journalism and soft media picking on us all the time as well. It's easy takes to get clicks and headlines, basically.
And it's just, you know, at the end of the day, this is the situation. We won the game. I had the best week of my life.
Yeah, sorry for being better than the opposition.
We all know, we all know how much... we all know how much, you know, good came from it, as you mentioned. I'm so sick of talking about this whole Harley Reid, should we, shouldn't have we.
We shouldn't have tanked that, and that's it. And that's the end of the sentence.
I don't want to sit here. I am a North supporter. I'm a mad football supporter, and I support the club to win games of football. End of. That's the end of the conversation.
No, I agree. Look, it's done. It is what it is. Do we wish we had Harley Reid? Yeah, probably, but we don't. So we move on.
Every club wishes they had Harley Reid.
Yeah, we don't dwell on the past as well. So, look, it's going to be a bit rough the next couple of years, but hey, one day when we're holding up a premiership, no one's going to care. That is it for this podcast, guys. Thank you so much for getting through that little bit of chaos at the end. I just felt bad because she wrote the message late, and I replied, I was like, yeah, we'll put it in, and then it wasn't in the notes I had here, and I was like, oh, God.
Thank you so much, everyone who sent in their questions.
Yes.
For those who don't follow us on socials, you should, but if you don't, it's Further North Pod at Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Thank you to everyone who
subscribe on YouTube, please. We're trying to get to 1,000 on YouTube and Instagram.
And for everyone who's sending their voice messages as well, we play them on every single show. As you know, furthernorthpod@gmail.com. 15 seconds of your hottest, spiciest takes. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
The moment you've all been waiting for.
The chom song.
Chom to chom chom chom. It's not that one.
It's not that. That's not bad though.
It was actually pretty good, especially when I'm a bit tone deaf right now with my voice. So this is probably the best thing we've ever played on this. It's rivaling the song at the start of the year about the Marnie merch and falling in love at the Further North podcast. If anyone wants to contribute anything like this, please send in everything you can. If you've got a talent and you can make it into a North talent, we'll play it. We'll talk about it on the podcast. So if you've got any talents and want to make a song or whatever you can possibly think of, please send it our way. That's enough talking, Marnie. We're just going to play this song to lead you guys out this week. We might not even play the outro. I'm just going to play the song and then it's going to fade away.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Yeah.
We will be back with the North Closer to a Flag Boys next week for our proper mid-season review, and you'll be back later in the week.
Either the next day or two, Monday or Tuesday, I'll release it. With Joel. A lot of good insights on some prospects.
To talk about the mid-season draft.
There's genuinely some exciting prospects as well. There's a couple of players he thinks that can come in and make an impact. Other ones that might be more long-term, so we talk about that. Very, very exciting. Tell us what you think of this song as well. Flood the DMs, flood the comments on Facebook and Instagram and everything to tell us what you think of this song. We're going to send it Chom's way and see if we can get a reply off him as well, because I'm sure he would bloody love this.
I'm sure he'll love it.
Without further ado, enjoy the song that I've entitled Charles.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
See ya.
We'll surrender to Charlie Comben. Charlie Comben, he's a man of steel on the football field. He's the real deal with his fierce aggression. He's second to none. Opponents tremble when he's on the run with a fury that can't be tamed. Opponents crumble, taking big grabs. He's a mighty kangaroo. Charlie Comben, North defender. Charlie Comben with a steely gaze for mighty North Melbourne. The opposition pays when he hits the pack. He's second to none. Opponents tremble when he's on the run, with a fury that can't be tamed. Opponents crumble, taking big grabs. He's a mighty kangaroo. Charlie Comben, North defender. Charlie Comben, he's no pretender. Charlie Comben, they will surrender to Charlie Comben, North